Greetings everyone, welcome to this advance. This game was played in Tata Steel Rapid 2023, and we know what this brilliant genius prodigy was able to get here in this. A lot of exposure, a lot of great games, and I've already shown 5 of the games where she was able to get a decent score against all of them. But now she's facing Vantika Agrawal. She's roughly 100 points rated above than her, so this is going to be a tough round. So let's see what she is able to conjure against her. So with the white pieces, we have the magician Divya Deshmukh. Let's see what she does. Hey, just d4 by Divya. We have knight to f6 by Vantika, bishop to g5, and just g6 we go into the Tromboski. Bishop captures, e captures, c4 now, and now just d5. We have c captures, queen captures, knight to c3 attacking the queen. Queen moves, and here just going for g3 and bishop to d6. These are all normal standard moves. Here you'll see in Tromboski. Here bishop to g2 now. Castles could be played. You could go for rook to c1, knight to d7, knight to f3. All of these things are possible. This part of theory. A3, you go for c6, and now after castles just play h5. You could also start to push with h4, but it's just a little bit unorthodox. But here after bishop to d6, here h4 immediately by Divya, and because that's her forte, she likes to attack, and she's definitely ready to push those pawns towards h5 and to try and start an attack early on and trying to go for a win. So that's why she goes for it. Not just h5, not allowing h5 to for white to push h5 herself, and here just bishop to g2, just c6 now, e3, f5, and here just knight to f3. We have castles, knight to d7, and now just going for d5. You'll see all of these moves that I showed in the previous line, which is this normal theory. Both of them played very easily and early on, because they know the theory. So both of them know the theory, so it's going to be all based on tactics. It's going to be all based on who can come out on top with pure sheer will. So let's see who does that. Here just c5 now, and now just comes a4, knight to f6, and knight to d2. Now just b6, knight to c4, and just going for this bishop to b7. You could also go for a move like a6 in this position. Seems to make sense, because here after queen to d3, you just go for rook to e8, and after rook f to e1, your position is absolutely fine. But bishop to b7, this gives some advantage, and it's very difficult to capitalize on that advantage. You're going to have to be really careful, and you're going to have to be seeing the move through that could be played in this position. So I'm going to ask you to pause the video and try and find out the only move which gives white advantage in this position. So have at it. So congratulations to anyone who's able to find this move. The move is knight to b5, and it's not that easy to spot, because you have to understand your bishop is hanging. So if you move it, then this comes and your position just completely collapses, because there's tension between the bishops. Your bishop is also hanging, and there is no way that you can move the bishop anyway. The two knights are absolutely wreaking havoc in your camp, and it's very difficult to do anything. And you're gonna have to play a passive move like knight to e8, and after queen to b3 comes. The thing is that after bishop to a6, trying to remove one of those knights, it just rook f to e1, and queen to d7, rook a to c1, and I just get easy development, and there is nothing that you can do. But after bishop to b7, we have queen to d3, and Divya misses the move, but still this is not a bad move. This is a decent move. But after a6 now just comes this e4. We have f captures on e4, knight captures, and just going for bishop captures. So these bishop queen pair are very active now, and you're gonna have to be a little bit careful in this position. Here just b5 now, pushing towards the queen side. A captures, rook captures, bishop captures, and just going for this knight caps on d8, queen captures. So a lot of trade happening, and Divya is saying that all of these trades are just going to benefit me, because here the pawn is hanging, and if I want to grab it, I can grab it. Yes, you give up this pawn, but the thing is that, are you really willing to capture it after something like that happens? I don't think so. So here just queen caps on b5 was played. Now just comes this rook to b8. So Divya has gotten pawn, and here just going for this queen to a5. Now you cannot capture, because the bishop would be hanging, so you have to be a little bit careful about that as well. So what do you do as black in this position? Here just queen to e5 was played, targeting the bishop. Here just bishop goes all the way back to g2. Now just c4, and here in this position, I mean, c4 is just one move that doesn't work in this position, unfortunately for Vantika. And the move that you have to play to be able to get an advantage in this position is queen to c3. And it's very difficult to understand why queen to c3 works, because the thing is that once queen to c3 comes, you cannot trade. If you trade, the position is very bad, and after that, I mean, this pass pawn is just too strong, and you cannot even stop it. And then thing is that it's on a light square. I have a light square bishop. What I'll do is I'll create another pass pawn. It's going to be really passive position you're going to have to face for the rest of the game. And even if you don't block, even if you don't capture it, if you go for a move like queen to d6 in this position, then the thing is that afterwards all I'll do is I'll play rook to a1, and your bishop is going to be hanging. Your rook is paralyzed in this position. You cannot move the rook. If you move the rook anyway, your bishop would be hanging. So if you go for a move like this, then it's very easy for me. All I have to do is just centralize the queen, and it's going to be very easy position to play in this position. So here all of this was not played, Divya goes for a move which is the third best move recommended by the engine, which is this queen to c5. And I mean, it's still winning. There is nothing you can do here. Rook to d8 was tried, but now just comes queen caps on c4. Divya now has two pass pawns. Queen caps on b2 was played, just eliminating one of them, but you still have a central pass pawn, and it's going to be very difficult to stop it. So if every piece is traded off and it's just queen and game, you still have to understand that queen and game would be completely winning with the central pawn. So here just queen to c7 was played, but now just comes queen to f6, rook to b1, and just king to g7. I mean, still, if you think you can capture it, obviously the king moved. If king hadn't moved, the thing is that you still cannot capture it because there would be check, and yeah, you would just be able to pick that up. And the thing is that if you look at this position, the only move that comes to mind is rook to b8, just trading the rooks off, and after that, just push that pass pawn to victory, and it's as simple as that. But the thing is that there is even a better move in this position, and that move is rook to b6. And the thing is that where do you move the queen? Because now queen is under attack. First of all, your queen is defending the rook, so if you cannot even go back. So what do you play in this position? And the move that you'll have to find is rook to d7, attacking white's queen, and maybe just asking for a trade in this position. And if you go for queen caps on d7, queen caps on b6, but after this queen to e8 to be played, attacking the bishop, queen moves, and now queen to e5 check, king will move back, and after d6 you have to understand this pawn is just advanced a bit too much. And even if you're able to trade this, there are no perpetual checks. I'll just hide my king on h2, and that pass pawn is pushing. It's a completely winning position. There is no way you're surviving this. But after king to g7, here we have rook to b8. The move that comes naturally was played because both players are now down to 30 seconds on the clock, so it's very difficult to find the accurate best moves by the engine. Here just rook caps on b8 was played, queen captures, and queen to a1 check was played, but now this comes king to h2. And here in this position, the thing is that if you go for a move like bishop caps on d5, it seems like a decent move. Here just bishop caps on d5, and the thing is that queen to d4, maybe try to just capture that pawn, and maybe you can try some sort of a perpetual. But the thing is that bishop to g2, queen caps on f2, and if you can believe it, this position is just +1 advantage to white. This position can be you can hold this position to a draw. I mean, it looks very unrealistic, but the thing is that you can try to hold this position to a draw. You are up a piece, but you have a queen. You might be able to go for perpetual later on, and maybe you can try to push those pawns towards the going side, some of those pawns, so that your king is safe, and maybe you can try to create something in this position. It's highly unlikely, but still, it's only a +1 or 0.5 here. Advantage is not easily convertible, because here how do you make progress as white? Because you have to understand that even if I'm able to give a check, I cannot attack and defend my king at the same time, and most likely this game could end in a draw. But with 30 seconds on the clock, you're not going to be able to find this move. After king to h2, here in this position just king to f6 was played, and king to f6 just completely blunders the game, because we can all see why. And in this position, Divya with 4 seconds on the clock plays the move queen to h8, and now you can see the problem. Here the king would need to move, and your queen is hanging on a1. And it was also on this move, on just move 34, that Vantika Agrawal resigned the game, and Divya was able to get this spectacular victory. And now with this victory, she is actually 5.5 out of 6 in Tata Steel, where world chess champion is playing, and that's absolutely spectacular score. I mean, it's a dream run for her at just 17 years of age, beating Nino Batsiashvili, beating Harika Dronawali, beating also holding the world chess champion to a draw, beating Irina Krush. I mean, a really strong grandmaster and an absolute legend. Also beating Savita Sri, and now beating here Vantika Agrawal. She's literally just showing her potential, and I mean, just crushing all her opponents. And I mean, this is a fantastic run. I mean, anyone could dream of getting 5.5 out of 6. Is just one of the most amazing things here. There are 4 more rounds remaining, and if she's able to even draw all of them, she might just become the champion of Tata Steel Rapid 2023. And I mean, ahead of the world champion. I mean, that's a big deal. So I mean, definitely at the 17 years of age, getting all of this exposure and getting towards the absolute top, now she's the sole leader of the tournament, showing absolute potential, showing to the rest of the world that she's not a youngster, she's not to be taken lightly. She's crushing opponents left and right. She's crushing the absolute champions, holding the world chess champion to a draw, and showing what absolute power and knowledge is at the age of just 17 years old, showing to the rest of the world that this is a world chess champion in the making.